Ay. Yeah. I just wanna feel elevated, yeah. Wake up in the morning, think about the morning, wanna feel that levitation, yeah. Be on cloud nine, feel like I'm flying, but I'm in a situation, yeah. Into me is crying, out of me is dying, happiness and imitation, yeah. Heard you speak about joy and I want an invitation, yeah. Something inside, yeah, the enemy. Long since the live set free, I've been torn down, I got all this pain. Feel like I'm nothing changed, pain so badly. I just wanna be so happy. Lord, I need you, please come grab me. Cause I just wanna be hey, yeah, I wanna be hey.
All right, folks, Wande is in the building. What's up, Wande?
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just quarantining it up here in Atlanta.
Okay. All right. ATL in the building. So how's it in ATL?
It's been enjoyable. I think it's a really good environment for anyone who wants to pursue like a creative career. So it's been a lot of fun. Met a lot of people, and
yeah.
So yeah.
No, that's good. Big shout out to my man Scott Free and City Takers down in ATL. Like I was asking you before, man, I'm already jealous because you down there and had a chance to get there. I keep saying I want to get there, so big shout out to him. And everyone who's on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Wande is willing to take your questions. We'll try to work some of those in. So if you have them, go ahead and throw them into the live stream, and I'll try to work your questions in as we can. So first and foremost, I always like to ask people, because you've had an exciting, explosive career since you came on the scene in 2018. Tell us what the journey's been like. How did you get here?
Yes, I mean, it's a journey. It's been a long journey. But kind of just started off like in high school. I figured out I could rap, and then from there, God just kind of like showed me how I could use this for His glory, and then turned into me doing some internships, going to college, graduating college, getting a job, and then getting offered a contract. So
right now, where'd you go to college?
The University of Texas.
Okay, so you went to okay. Is that in Austin?
Yeah. So.
Okay, went to Austin. Okay, in Texas. Okay, so take a note. She went to Texas. She's educated. Okay? She went to, and then you did your internship at Reach Records, right?
Yeah, correct.
All right, and then how long did you do that internship before you got signed?
So I did the internship for a summer, and so I did that the summer of my junior year,
right?
And then I went back to school for my senior year, and then they offered me a job. And then after that, I worked there for about 6 months, and then that's when I got my contract.
Got you. And one of the things I really enjoyed, I was watching one of the videos where Lecrae and the whole Reach Record family was out on tour, or at least at an event, and where they unveiled that you were getting signed, and then you did, I think you performed Blessed Up, and they all did it with you, and they prayed over you. And that was just such a nice moment to see them coming together. I mean, Reach Records has been a staple in this community. 16 years long or so, all male, right? So now you're the first female in Reach Records, dubbed as the first lady of Reach Records. How does it feel?
I mean, honestly, it feels great. I think it's something I've always wanted to do as soon as like God put like the vision in me to like do music. So I think it's really great to see it like fulfilled, and then it's just awesome just to be able to live it out. So.
Yeah. And, as you signed with Reach Records, what were some of the things going through your mind? Because, I mean, you sing, you rap, you dance, right? So you're a multifaceted artist in so many respects. As you were going through that process, what were some of the things you were contemplating in terms of as you were signing with Reach Records?
I mean, honestly, like, I guess there wasn't that much like in my life. I like already was living out being an artist, so now it's just it's like a newer platform for more people to be exposed to the art. So for me, it was just like, oh wait, this is great, like, because now it's a new opportunity just for more people to be exposed to like the work that God was already doing through me. So
yeah, that's awesome. And then in 2019, I mean, explosive 2019, USA Today did an article where they talked about 6 Christian hip hop artists you must know, and you were one of those 6. Were you surprised?
Yeah, like I was shocked because I remember I was eating lunch with somebody, and then someone tagged me like, "Oh my gosh, like you're in USA Today," and I was very confused because I was like, "What?" I was like, "What? What did I like? Why would I randomly be in USA Today?" And so when I saw it, I was like, "Oh wow, that's awesome!" So it was dope to see like the recognition.
Yeah, and then I mean, you've had song placements on ESPN. Was it MTBT, VH1? I mean, all that. Early success in 2019. What was your reaction to that?
I mean, it's just a blessing. I think to me, it was like dope to see that like you don't have to dumb your music down, or you don't have to
Mm,
take Jesus away to get
hmm.
this. So I think it was like almost a blessing to me, because since it came early on when I was just being myself and just talking about Jesus, like it's showing me that like I can continue doing that and
Yeah.
people still want to hear the music and so.
Yeah. Now I know your roots. You have Nigerian roots, correct?
Correct.
And then, how long were you born in Nigeria or born here in the States?
Yeah, I was born in Nigeria and then I came here as a baby. So
Okay, came here as a baby. And so do you still have close connections to family in Nigeria?
yeah, so like basically everybody's there except for my mom and my dad and like
Okay.
maybe one or two sets of uncles.
Okay.
But yeah, everybody else is over there. So yeah.
Okay. So are they playing your music over in Nigeria?
Yeah, so they're really proud and like they're excited. They're like, yeah, we doing it. So
Right.
it's really cool, like
Gotcha.
how it can translate to both markets.
That's awesome. And so with the so all that success in 2019, and now your debut EP is dropping, right? Just dropped last Friday, the 24th, entitled Exit. What is the premise behind the EP Exit?
Yeah, so Exit is kind of highlighting just like how I talked about earlier, like it took a while to get here.
Yeah.
It's kind of highlighting all the exit stops I went through in life and like showing how God taught me that in life you have seasons. So through each season, there's a lesson that He wants you to learn and internalize, so that way you'll be ready to go on to the next and exit. And so in order to enter calling you to be, you have to exit different phases. And so that's kind of like what I'm talking about throughout the album.
Yeah. And, you know, as I was listening to some of the songs, I mean, some of the songs have some real strong meanings. One of the songs, for example, you say about really what God was saying to you about almost about purpose, if you will. It was asking about what song was it? Not Happy. Oh man, I lost the lyrics. I had the lyrics right here. Dang. I think it was the second song on the album where you asked. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, the second song has been up, so I'm just trying to like gauge like which.
No, it's not been up. I'll come back to that in a second. But it's one of the songs where it opens up and basically it's saying, "Don't duplicate other people. Are you willing to be yourself?"
Be yourself.
Say again.
Yeah, be yourself. That's that's the first song. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Hit that chorus real quick.
Oh, it's like, yeah, who you want to be when you wake from your sleep. Don't be a clone. You were made to unique. So yeah.
Yeah. So is that really focused towards other females? Is it focused towards everyone? What's the message in that song?
Yeah, that's focused towards everyone. It's just like whenever you're lying in bed at night and it's just you and God, like who do you truly want to be? Like who do you really feel like He's calling you to be? Because I think for a lot of us, we know deep down who God is telling us to be, and we know deep down what He's calling us to do, but we're distracted by fear, we're distracted by other people's opinions, and thus we don't live out our full calling and we don't live out who we're truly destined to be. And so I'm just like calling a call to action for people to do an introspective look at themselves and like analyze, am I truly being who God is calling me to be? And so
yeah. So tell me this, again, you signed with Reach Records, you signed with Lecrae, you were on tour with Lecrae and Andy and probably Trip and all those dudes again who've been doing this 16 years strong. What was it like on tour? You sign, and you always, when you do things like this, you always have one thing in your mind in terms of what this is going to be like, right? You go like, yeah, been waiting to do this. I was in college. I was thinking about it. I'm an artist. I know what I'm doing. I've been on a couple TV spots in Austin, Texas. I know what I'm doing. This is the thing I've been destined to do. And then you do it. Were the expectations realized? Was it exactly like you thought it would be, or were things drastically different?
No, I think I would say it was exactly how I thought it would be. It was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely great. Like all the dudes are super popping and like they actually love the Lord, which is great. So there was definitely community in that sense. For me, it was a lot of fun because like all I had to be concerned about was Blessed Up. I know that song like the back of my hand. So for me, tour was a lot of fun because there wasn't like memorization and fear coming into play. It was like, oh yeah, I just come out there every day and have fun doing Blessed Up. And yeah, it was a lot of fun because I love people too. So it was great meeting all the supporters. For me, it was just like a really great experience because I got to like have my first tour was like a legit tour. So it was cool like seeing like tour bus live, like all that works. So for me, it was a lot of fun. I was enjoying myself.
How was tour bus life?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's really chill. So for the most part, like you're just sleeping. So like for the most part, we get on the bus like right after a show, and that's like midnight. And so we get on the bus, and for the most part, you're like knocked out, so you sleep. And yeah, you just once you wake up, and then you're like, oh, we're in the next city.
Next
And so
city. Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So right out of high school, internship, tour bus life, touring. As Exits released, and again, to your point of being, to what we talked first, female on Reach Records. And so that in and of itself just has sometimes can have a weightiness to it, right? In terms of carving groove in a wood, I like to call it. You know what I mean? That groove hasn't been there before, at least at this level in the CHH community. Well, first of all, let me take a step back. There's a number of women in the CHH community who've done some incredible things. So let me be clear about that. So many people that I can think of. I won't start naming names because I'll miss people and I'll mess that up. But with what you're doing there, the first woman in Reach, how do you think about some of the things you want to accomplish now that you're there, now that your EP's coming out? What are some of the things you'd love to accomplish?
I mean, honestly, as far as we can take it. So, I mean, I'd love just to bring basically wherever the farthest we've gone so far as a company and as Reach, I'd love to like basically have that be my starting point and go from there. So, I'd love to just expand the brand, bring Christian music to mainstream situations without compromising being a Christian and like, yeah, just kind of just live my life, show like you can be young, unashamed, and successful. So.
Yeah. As women maybe watching this and seeing you as a role model, I'm sure many do, and maybe looking for your advice, you know what I mean, to how to follow in your footsteps, how to achieve some of the things that you're starting to achieve already. What's some advice that, because I'm sure this even happens on tour stops, right? Probably trying to catch you as you come off stage right before you jump onto the bus. Hey, Wande, just give me a nugget or two. How do I kind of follow your footsteps and achieve some of the things you're doing? What's some of the advice that you give to them?
Yeah, I would say, first make sure you have a relationship with Jesus because, that's the fourth foundation. Like, if you don't have that, like everything else won't fall into place. And like, that's honestly what's even sustained me to get here because I knew that this is something that God truly called me to do. And then from there, honestly, just basically one, following what God is telling you to do, and two, like just working at your craft and just trying to be the best version of yourself that you can be. And that's basically all you gotta do, and you'll be straight. So
okay, so let's take a step back because you said that, and it sounds so simple. You said first and foremost, make sure that it's something that God called you to do because you knew it was something that God called you to do. Let's just pause on that for a second. Something that God called you to do. How'd you know that God called you to do it?
Yeah, I mean, well, for me, like I can hear like his voice talk to me a lot, and so like I just felt like he, especially like with the Holy Spirit too, like I feel like he was nudging me towards this, and like kind of also just made it ridiculously evident. Like doors would open for opportunities like internships, like I would easily get those, or I would easily be exposed to people being receptive to my music, or different artists finding out about my music and being like, oh, I really mess with this and stuff. So it was a path to where I had to work hard, but I didn't have to like force like ridiculously. Like you could still see that there was some type of favor and grace along the path. And so, yeah, I would just say like, if you have the skill set and the talent and you can like feel the Holy Spirit leading you towards it, then it's usually what he's telling you to do. So
yeah, there was a lot in there, right? God calling you to do it, talents, gifts, feeling the Holy Spirit. Excellent. And then the second thing you said was then hone your craft and work on your skills. And so how long have you been working at this?
I mean, so I found out I could rap like December 2010. So it's been about that long.
10 years. Okay. Excellent. What as you think about like the season we're in right now and dealing with COVID-19, first and foremost, let me ask you, how's your family in Nigeria? How are they dealing with COVID?
Yeah, so luckily everybody's good, everybody's healthy. So sending them prayers up that luckily everything's good. So
yeah. How are you handling the season? Because obviously you can't tour right now. Your new EP just came out, and this would normally be a time where you're out promoting it like crazy, so on and so forth. What are you doing in absence of that during this season?
Yeah, so you just got to get creative virtually. So also just been like really trusting God. Like I know initially like a lot of worry wanted to creep into my brain. I really had to like just push that to the side and be like, nah, I gotta trust God. Cause like, I mean, obviously, yeah, like 90% of my income was just like bye. And so just had to get creative. But luckily, the past 2 weeks, like God gave me this dope idea to start doing like consulting, and then that ended up being really successful. And like so now I'm not stressed about my bills, like everything's covered. And so yeah, it's just been like just being really creative. And then also outside of that, been promoting the album any way I can virtually. And so it's been interesting but cool.
That's so good to hear. 90%. So hold up, let me back up. What kind of consulting? I'm curious.
Yeah, so I just like consult people with like on things you can do to build your brand as an artist.
Nice.
Things you can do in general, just to, like if you want to get a job, like stuff like that. So
yeah, I've been checking out your YouTube channel. You do really nice YouTube pieces. So is that a part of what you do as a part of your brand consulting? Show people how to do?
So it's just various things. Since I've been doing this for so long, like I have knowledge in various areas because like I used to work as an A&R admin. I used to be a journalist and like do video journalism. So like there's different areas I could pull from to like teach people because I've seen it and applied it to my life and made it work. So
right. Got it. So I mean, the faith walk there. So, and people probably don't expect to hear this. So people think, one, you signed to Reach Records, it's on, it's done, you're solidified, you're good. But you just made a big statement. 90% of your income, just like that, with this COVID piece, right? But the second thing you said, which was so powerful, you're going to trust in God that things will be taken care of. Just so powerful to hear that from you. And hopefully people that are watching and will listen to this later appreciate that in good times and in what seems like uncertain, well, not seems like in uncertain times, God is still with us. That's awesome. Let me ask you this. As you are continuing to grow in your career and look forward, and like you said, going to take things to new heights, even now still, who is someone that, you look out in the future and you think about someone that you really admire, but have not met yet, somebody that you kind of look up to, but haven't had a chance to meet yet? You know what I mean? When you think about things you want to do, you go, man, that is, yes, that person, but you haven't met them yet.
I've met most of the people I mess with. Maybe like Kirk Franklin. I haven't met him yet. So
okay. Anyone else? Anyone outside of music? Just curious.
Trying to think. Most of the people I look up to, I've met them. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you meet Kirk, what's the first question you're gonna ask Kirk?
I mean, probably just like a hey, what's up, man? But probably just like I don't know, what's his creative process like when he's creating? I think that's probably what I'd ask him.
Gotcha. Okay, good. What do you want to see happen with the Exit EP? What do you hope that when people listen to it? And first of all, let me say this. Again, when I'm getting ready for these interviews, I listen to EPs or the CD from end to end. And it's so funny because we've become such a singles based culture that we listen to singles and jump to the next single. And I don't think many of us listen to full projects anymore. For real. We get the single and we bounce, right? And I think sometimes it robs us of the essence of what was being created by that person, that artist, you know what I mean? And so I'm just thoroughly encouraging people, man, listen to the whole thing, because that way you get what the artist truly intends in terms of what they poured into that thing, you know what I mean? And your EP has a lot in it. So, when people listen to yours from end to end and they're done, what do you hope they're sitting and taking away from that? What do you hope they're meditating on? What do you hope they're prayerful about after that?
I think I hope that they're prayerful to just seek after God more. Like I hope that after listening to this, you're like, man, I really want to make sure I spend more time with the Lord now and get my relationship with him right. I think also just after that, I hope that you're just seeking that you can figure out, God, like what is my purpose and what can I do to serve you with my life? And so I think those are the two things I want people to take away and feel after finishing this album.
That's great, man. That's great. Well, listen, as we wrap up, I've got like one last question for you. This COVID season just affects us all in so many different ways. And one, I'm thankful for your faith, and two, that you found something else, a way to pivot. I was with Truth the other day during his interview, and one of the things he said, I think so eloquently, was that we're all like Swiss Army knives. Well, not all of us, but many of us are like Swiss Army knives. We have so many gifts and talents. We can do so many different things, but sometimes we get isolated on one particular passion or purpose and don't use all our gifts and talents. So glad you are. As you think about this season, what are you most hopeful about in terms of how we come out of this season?
I think I'm hopeful that people understand like the need for rest. So I hope that people understand that and take that into account for just how they live out their lives and no longer just rush into busyness and to fill themselves with just tasks.
Yeah.
So you're busy and be like, oh yeah, well I do this, this, and this. But it's like, okay, like busyness and like actually getting things done like are not the same thing. And like busyness doesn't fulfill you, doesn't complete you. So I hope people just realize that it's like, oh, I don't have to be filled with all these things to be whole or to thrive as a human. So I just hope people, take the time back to rest, truly spend time with people, truly spend time with God, and just, walk out their lives without the need for haste all the time.
Yeah, that's good. People get some rest out of this. That's good. Anybody you want to give any shouts out to before we wrap up?
I mean, shout out to my manager, Erin, she been killing it, shout out to all my team, everybody who's been helping, put together Exit, MVPs out here.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Hey, y'all, you heard it first right here from Wande. Pick up Exit from Wande. Came out last Friday. You can get it on all your streaming platforms, etc. And if you want to follow her, it's OMG. It's Wande on all your platforms. OMG, like, oh my God, it's Wande. All right, signing off. Thank you again for being here. Appreciate you.
Awesome.
God bless.